We're live from New Delhi. You're watching DD India News now, India's voice to the world. I'm Lipakshi Khurana. Coming up in the next hour. Swiss president says New Year's Eve a fire at ski resort among country's worst tragedies. At least 40 people killed, over 100 injured. Flags to fly at half-mast for 5 days. Hindu businessman brutally attacked, set on fire in Bangladesh, raising minority violence concerns. Clashes between protesters and security forces in Iran leave 6 dead amid cost of living protest. Russia hands over evidence to US claiming Ukrainian drone targeted Putin's residence, escalating tensions in peace talks. Financial Stability Report of India's Central Bank RBI predicts Indian economy to likely maintain strong growth. Health of commercial banks remain sound. Well, on to the details now. Around 40 people were killed and over 100 injured when a fire ripped through a crowded bar during a New Year's Eve party in the upscale Swiss ski resort of Crans-Montana. Swiss President Guy Parmelin described the deadly fire as one of the worst tragedies the country has ever known. Speaking after the incident, the Swiss president said authorities are investigating the exact circumstances of what happened. He added that flags will be flown at half-mast for 5 days, stressing that a tragedy of such a scale must not happen again.
The fire that occurred last night in a bar in Crans-Montana is one of the worst tragedies our country has ever known. Many lives, mostly young people, have been lost. Around 100 people were injured, many seriously. And behind these numbers are faces, names, families, destinies brutally cut short or forever shattered.
Well, the fire broke out at around 1:30 local time during New Year's celebrations. Authorities said they launched an investigation into the fire. The authorities said they were racing to identify the victims, but warned the process could take several days, even weeks. Meanwhile, local people gathered to pay tribute to the victims at a vigil at Montana Station Church on Thursday evening, and floral tributes were laid near the scene of the fire. Crans-Montana is a luxury ski resort famous in the 1980s for hosting the World Cup skiing. Well, also the world leaders reacted to a fatal fire that tore through a crowded bar during a New Year's Eve party in the upscale Swiss ski resort of Crans-Montana. The European Union said it has been in contact with Swiss authorities about providing medical assistance, while French President Emmanuel Macron said some of the injured were already being cared for in French hospitals. Italian Foreign Minister Antonio Tajani told Italian broadcaster that around 15 Italians had been injured in the fire and a similar number remained missing. The French Foreign Ministry said 9 French citizens figured among the injured and 8 others remained unaccounted for. Swiss President Parmelin thanked countries that offered support in the aftermath of the fire, pointing specifically to neighboring France, Germany and Italy. He said communications are being established through foreign ministries with the families of foreign victims. Well, a massive fire engulfed a historic church in Amsterdam in the early hours of New Year's Day on Thursday. The blaze tore through the 19th century Wandel Kirk, destroying large sections of the neo-Gothic building and causing its iconic spire to collapse. The fire broke out shortly after midnight near the city's central Wandel Park, reducing much of the landmark built in 1872 to ruins. Authorities said the cause of the fire remains under investigation. And in Iran, clashes between protesters and security forces across several cities left 6 people dead as protests over worsening economic conditions spread nationwide. Iran's Fars news agency reported that some protesters in Lodigan threw stones at government buildings, a mosque and banks, prompting police to respond with tear gas. It added buildings suffered serious damage and that police detained several individuals. In Asna, the agency reported that rioters exploited a demonstration to assault a police station. Separately, news agency Tasneem said authorities in Tehran arrested 30 people accused of public order offences. The deputy governor of Loristan province said Borali stated that 13 police officers and Basij members were injured by stone pelting during demonstration in Kudast. The protesters began in Tehran on Sunday, where shopkeepers went on strike over high prices and economic stagnation, and have since spread to other parts of the country as well. And updates on Russia-Ukraine conflict now. A senior Russian military official on Thursday presented a U.S. military attaché with what he said was a component of a Ukrainian drone, claiming the data proved Kyiv had targeted a Russian presidential residence. Moscow has alleged that Ukraine attempted to strike President Vladimir Putin's residence in the Novgorod region using dozens of long-range drones and warned it could reconsider its position in talks with the United States on ending the conflict. Ukraine and several Western countries have rejected the claim, while U.S. President Donald Trump initially appeared sympathetic to Russia's allegation. He later expressed doubts. Ukraine dismissed the accusation as disinformation aimed at straining ties with the U.S.
I've invited you here for an important matter. We'd like to inform you that we found the wreckage of the drones that carried out this attack. The navigation systems of some of these drones are well preserved and technically functional. A decryption of the memory contents of the navigation controllers of these drones, performed by specialists from Russian intelligence agencies, has irrefutably confirmed that the target of the attack was the complex of buildings housing the Russian president's residence in the Novgorod region.
And for more on this, we have Akhilesh Suman joining us. Well, Akhilesh, with the Russian claims of Ukraine attack on Putin's residence, what happens to the hopes for peace with Russia threatening to retaliate at one end and Zelensky outrightly denying that Kyiv had anything to do with the attack?
Actually, Lipakshi, everybody is, very concerned about this development. Then a drone attack has taken place at the residence of President Putin in Novgorod region. No one expected that such a leadership elimination exercise will be, started from, Ukraine's side at a time when Ukraine is right in the negotiation with President Donald Trump, and Donald Trump is trying to help him out to reach a negotiated settlement with Russia. So in this situation, that when Russia is giving evidence that there is evidence that, Ukraine has launched attack on the Novgorod residence of President Putin, I think that the situation has become more than complicated. You remember that Prime Minister Narendra Modi even has, expressed concern over this development, and many other countries like UAE has also expressed concern that such a situation should not arise at a time when, that the whole world is keeping high hopes from the negotiations going on between Russia, Ukraine, and USA. Even European Union is trying to get a negotiated settlement. So in that situation, even when Zelensky is denying, but the situations are quite, concerning to everyone. And in this situation, I think that maybe there are some rogue elements in Ukrainian army, and maybe there are some rogue elements in Ukrainian. There are so many armed gangs in Ukraine who have been told that they operate also across the region. So what is the situation? It is for Ukraine to investigate and tell to the world that what has happened. And if something has really taken place, it should come forward and tell the world. But at this point of time, I think that situation has become more than complicated, Lipakshi.
Absolutely. In the midst of high hopes around the world, Akhilesh, how could Russia's allegation and the mixed signals from President Trump affect the US-Russia diplomatic talks on ending the conflict, especially if the claim is widely viewed as disinformation, as we know?
Actually, it is very difficult to say that who is, spreading this information, because at the time of war, information war also takes place, and every party, every concerned, party try to use their information machinery to spread, disinformation against the other party. So in that situation, it is very important for, President Donald Trump also to find out from his own side that how it has happened and why it has happened. Because when, we had last, voice from President Zelensky, actually yesterday, New Year's Eve, he was telling that, that 90% agreement has been reached between, US and Ukraine.
Yes.
And, Donald Trump is telling that 95% agreement has reached on security guarantees. So in that situation, everyone can say that this is the time of tightrope walking, and every party should show utmost restraint and utmost caution that this situation should not be diverted to another conflict and diverted to another situation when you are nearing the negotiation, where you are nearing the agreement, somebody is derailing. So I think everyone needs to be very cautious in this point of time, and every party should investigate that how it has happened. That will help everyone to understand that who are enemies of peace. And because in this point of time, it is very important to know that who are enemies of peace, who are not trying to, and who are trying to, that subvert the whole agreement that is about to reach between all the parties who are, associated with this whole situation. Pulipakshi.
All right, Akhilesh, thank you so much for all those details. And moving on, Israel's military chief says the country's determination to disarm Hamas is absolute, calling 2026 a decisive year for Israel's security. Now, Lieutenant General Eyal Zamir made the remarks during a visit to Israeli troops in Gaza. His comments follow talks between Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and US President Donald Trump on the next phase of the fragile Gaza truce. US President Donald Trump warned Hamas of severe consequences if it does not disarm, while the group has repeatedly refused to surrender its weapons. Although the ceasefire is largely held since October, both sides accuse each other of violations. Meanwhile, Israeli military have begun demolishing 25 buildings in the Nur Shams refugee camp in the occupied West Bank. The Israeli military says the demolitions are part of operations targeting armed groups in the area. And Zohran Mamdani took part in a ceremonial inauguration outside New York City Hall after beginning his first day as mayor of New York City. The newly elected mayor, who was largely unknown a year ago, said New Yorkers will set an example for the world. During the ceremony, Mamdani was joined by his allies, Senator Bernie Sanders and Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. And still to come on DD India Newshour. Maduro signals openness to US talks amid Trump's claims of strike on Venezuela drug facilities. Bulgaria adopts euro, becomes latest member of single currency bloc amid mixed public reaction. And power outages and flood warnings as powerful storm batters Southern California.
Welcome to DD India, where a billion voices unite, connecting viewers to the stories that matter. India is not just another news channel. It's the international channel that puts the spotlight on the global south, bringing you stories from the heart of emerging economies, dynamic cultures, and transformative voices. As the international news channel of India's public broadcaster Prasar Bharati, DD India delivers high-quality content from every corner of the globe. focusing on the stories that shape our future. We don't just report news, we connect you to India's voice in the global narrative. From current affairs to culture, from economic growth to sustainable development, and the ever-evolving world order, DD India gives you a comprehensive view of the world around us. Stay connected, stay informed, and embrace the stories that shape our lives. DD India. India's voice to the world.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News. I'm Lipakshi Quran, and moving on. In Bangladesh, a Hindu businessman was brutally attacked, stabbed and set on fire in Shariatpur district, raising fresh concerns over violence against minority communities. Now, the incident took place on Wednesday night. 50-year-old Kukon Chandra Das was returning home in an auto rickshaw when he was stopped by a group of assailants. The attackers assaulted him with sharp weapons, robbed him of cash, poured a flammable liquid on him and set him on fire. Injured, the victim jumped into a nearby pond to save himself. Local residents rescued him and took him to hospital before he was referred to a hospital in Dhaka due to critical injuries. Well, the incident follows reports of other recent violent attacks involving members of the minority community, raising concerns among right groups and local observers. And for more on this, we have our colleague Naval Singh Parmar joining us from Dhaka. Well, Naval Singh, tell us about the latest situation in Bangladesh, as this brutal incident comes amid reports of other recent attacks on minorities as well there.
Well, on Wednesday evening, there was a attack on a Hindu businessman named Kukon Chandra Das, and it is third in series in last 2 weeks. So the law and order situation in Bangladesh is very, very, very pathetic, and the affected of people in this condition of law and order, poor law and order condition, is mostly the minority peoples and the liberal or people, media, and the other people who are vulnerable section of the society. So Kukon Chandra Das was attacked at night when he was returning from his shop to his home, and now he is in under treatment in Dhaka. He is in critical condition as he was a wound injury as well as burn injury. This is the kind of situation where nobody is safe, not in night time but also in daytime also. Mugging, looting, and the mob justice, mob lynching, these are kind of things are very rampant in Bangladesh. And as the police under the Yunus administration do not have much command or control over the situation, as they are lacking the authority, they have a responsibility, but some elements in Yunus administration are not in position to give free hand to the police force to control law and order situation, and that is the reason. And opposition party and many other people, civil society also accuse Yunus administration, and that there is a failure of Yunus administration, as they are failed to provide safety and security to the people of Bangladesh, particularly the vulnerable section, including minority.
All right, Naval Singh, you said that the police does not have enough authority, and that's why this is happening. How is this latest case adding to the concerns on the ground, and what response are we actually seeing from the authorities and the rights group in Bangladesh at the moment?
Well, it is routine that every day 2 to 3 such kind of incidents happen. It is with the people of majority as well as minority community. But when it happens with the minority community, it's brutality. There in many occasions there were a communal angle also. So that is the concern for the minority community, because it's happened with the other people also. Yesterday there was a stabbing of a advocate in Basundhara residential area, one of the post area in Bangladesh, in Dhaka. So this kind of incident happened with the every kind of people from the every section of society, but the minority is most vulnerable. And as the law and order situation and the presence of police personnel and the law enforcement agency is very thin, and they don't have confidence to handle or to mitigate the situation arising of the failure of law and order.
All right, Naval Singh, thank you so much for all those details from there. And moving on, Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro on Thursday said he was open to cooperation with Washington after weeks of American military pressure. In an interview on state TV, Maduro said he's open for dialogues wherever and wherever U.S. wants. Till date, Maduro has not confirmed a U.S. land attack on a docking facility in his country that allegedly targeted drug boats, according to U.S. President Donald Trump's comments on Monday. The attack would amount to the first known land strike of the U.S. military campaign against drug trafficking from Latin America. Trump on Monday said the United States hit and destroyed a docking area for alleged Venezuela drug boats. Trump would not say if it was a military or CIA operation or where the strike occurred, noting only that it was along the shore. Also, the Venezuelan government has released 88 more detainees who were held after protest following the July 2024 Venezuelan election. Now, this comes after the release of 99 individuals on December 26th, bringing the total number of freed prisoners to 187, marking the second mass release in 2 weeks. The government described these actions as part of a comprehensive review process of cases ordered by President Nicolas Maduro. The Venezuelan government stated that it does not hold political prisoners, but rather imprisoned politicians, claiming that those arrested were seeking to destabilize the country. Several NGOs estimate that around 900 people still remain detained, including those arrested before the election. An EU member, Bulgaria, marked its entry into the Eurozone on Thursday with a celebratory display of the euro coins on the facade of the central bank in Sofia. Fireworks lit up the capital as the country celebrated the long-awaited milestone. As of midnight, the euro became the country's currency and the lev was banished into history. Bulgaria's entry into the Eurozone will take the number of Europeans using the currency to more than 350 million. Bulgarians have mixed feelings about the historic currency change. Some see it as a positive step away from the country's socialist past, while others criticize the decision for lacking public consultation and are worried over higher prices and political instability. The last country to join the single currency group was Croatia in January 2023. And former Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro was discharged from the hospital on Thursday after undergoing medical procedures to treat a hernia and hiccups. The former president has been sent back to the Federal Police Superintendency in Brasilia, where he is serving a 27-year sentence for plotting a coup after losing the 2022 presidential election. Now, Bolsonaro was admitted to the hospital last week for surgical procedures following a request from his lawyers. Earlier, Brazil's Supreme Court justice rejected a request from his lawyers seeking permission for the former president to serve his sentence under what they called humanitarian house arrest. And at least 3 people were killed and 7 others missing after a New Year's Eve attack on informal miners in northern Peru on Thursday. The assault is the latest in a string of violent incidents targeting small-scale gold miners in the Andean nation. Authorities noted that in May last year, 13 miners were killed in the same district as criminal gangs intensified efforts to expand their control over the lucrative mining region. Well, a storm swept through Southern California on Thursday, prompting flood warnings for millions of residents. The storm also left over 3,000 Los Angeles customers without power. The Los Angeles Department of Water and Power reported localized outages in Sherman Oaks, Vermont, Slauson, Highland Park and Los Feliz, but said its overall system remained stable. Authorities warned of debris flows and flash flooding as rain continued across Los Angeles, Orange, Riverside, San Bernardino and Ventura counties. And now let's take a look at other stories making news around the world today. Thousands lined the streets of central London for the New Year's Day parade, welcoming 2026 with music and dance. More than 8,000 performers from around the world marched a mile route past major landmarks. Organizers said crowds of around 5 lakhs were expected to attend. And people in southern Senegal welcomed the new year at the Abene festival with traditional music, masks and dance. The week-long celebration in the Casamance region highlights local culture and attracts visitors from across the country. And still to come in DD India Newshour. Australia grants duty-free access to all Indian exports under Economic Cooperation and Trade Agreement. Indian Railways to launch first Vande Bharat sleeper train between Guwahati and Howrah this month. And India launches government-backed Bharat Taxi pilot to promote homegrown ride service.
Welcome to a happy place. To nature's warm embrace. Witness the power of faith. Fruits of hard work and protectors of Mother Earth. Unique in every way. Discover something new every day. A small state with big ambitions. And a bigger heart. Mizoram welcomes to love, laughter and celebrations.
Near the heart of India, a land filled with surprises. In the mighty force of your waters, you hold the deepest secrets that take us back in time. When it's said that the gods walk this land, this is where we feel the warmth of your faces. See hands that mold life. While embracing change, you grow. In you is the land that gives, creates, nurtures, grows, and builds. It's all in you. Come, experience.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News. I'm Lipakshi Khurana, and time now for a quick recap of the headlines. Swiss president says New Year's Eve fire at ski resort among country's worst tragedies. At least 40 people killed, over 100 injured. Flags to fly at half-mast for 5 days. Hindu businessman brutally attacked, set on fire in Bangladesh, raising minority violence concerns. Clashes between protesters and security forces in Iran leave 6 dead amid cost of living protest. Russia hands over evidence to US claiming Ukrainian drone targeted Putin's residence, escalating tensions in peace talks. Financial Stability Report of India's Central Bank RBI predicts Indian economy to likely maintain strong growth. Health of commercial banks remain sound. And moving on, Australia has provided duty-free access to all Indian exports starting today under the Economic Cooperation and Trade Agreement between the two countries. DD India's Adamya Mishra brings us more on this.
Australia has provided duty-free access to all Indian exports starting 1st January under the Economic Cooperation and Trade Agreement between the two countries. Commenting on the third anniversary of the deal, which came into effect on December 29, 2022, India's Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal said that 100% Australian tariff lines will be zero duty for Indian exports from 1st of January 2026. In a social media post, the minister highlighted that the agreement is benefiting Indian exporters, MSMEs, farmers, and workers. He also said that India's exports to Australia increased 8% in 2024 to 2025. Over the past 3 years, India-Australia Economic Cooperation and Trade Agreement, or the ECTA, has delivered sustained export growth, deeper market access, and stronger supply chain resilience. Under the agreement, trade balance will improve and stronger gains are expected across manufacturing, chemicals, textiles, pharma, petroleum, and gems and jewelry. In April to November 2025, agri exports surged, led by fruits and vegetables, marine products, spices and coffee, while gems and jewelry exports jumped 16%. India-Australia ECTA continues to anchor India's economic engagement in the Indo-Pacific, aligned with Make in India and the vision of Viksit Bharat 2047. Adamya Mishra's report for DD India.
And Indian Railways is all set to introduce the Vande Bharat sleeper train for long journeys. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is expected to flag it off later this month. Railway Minister Ashwini Vaishnaw announced that the first ever Vande Bharat sleeper train will operate between Guwahati in Assam and Howrah in West Bengal. He stated that this complete trial testing and certification of the Vande Bharat sleeper train have been successfully completed.
वंदे भारत एक्सप्रेस जो चेयर कार बनी उसने देश में एक नया कॉन्फिडेंस जागृत किया एंड पीपल स्टार्टेड लाइकिंग इट अ लॉट। देश भर से आज रिक्वेस्ट आता है कि वंदे भारत ट्रेन चलाइए, करीब करीब हर एमपी चाहते हैं। वैसा ही कंफर्ट अब ओवरनाइट जर्नी के लिए, वैसा ही कंफर्ट, वैसी सेफ्टी, वैसा ही स्टैंडर्ड एक नया ओवरनाइट जर्नी के लिए वो वंदे भारत स्लीपर से स्टार्ट होगा।
Well, addressing the conference, Ashwini Vaishnaw said the Vande Bharat sleeper train is built on a completely new platform and technology.
हमने जिस तरह से वंदे भारत चेयर कार में लगातार इम्प्रूवमेंट्स किए, हर वर्जन में नए इम्प्रूवमेंट्स किए, अब उन इम्प्रूवमेंट्स के बाद में ये तय किया कि टोटली नया प्लेटफॉर्म एक बने, टोटली नया टेक्नोलॉजिकल बेस एक बने, टोटली एक नए तरीके से सोचें। तो अंदाज़ा था कि करीब 2026 के मिडिल तक कंप्लीट हो जाएगा काम, लेकिन लकीली जितनी मेहनत की टीम ने 2026 की आरंभ में ही ये काम कंप्लीट हुआ है।
Well, a new experiment in India's taxi services sector began on Thursday with the launch of Bharat Taxi, a government-backed, cooperative-based pilot project. The service has currently been rolled out in major metropolitan cities and will be expanded nationwide based on its performance. Bharat Taxi aims to offer more than just convenience, positioning itself as a platform built on trust, transparency and national interest. Currently running as a pilot, the project's nationwide rollout will depend on its initial results. Well, the Reserve Bank of India has released its Financial Stability Report for December 2025, flagging confidence in the strength and resilience of India's financial system despite global uncertainties. Now, the report comes as the government continues to push wide-ranging reforms to sustain economic momentum. More in this report.
The Indian economy continues to grow at a strong pace, supported by robust domestic demand, moderate inflation and prudent macroeconomic policies despite global headwinds. These are major highlights of Reserve Bank of India's latest financial stability report. The report says, despite an uncertain and challenging global economic backdrop, the Indian economy continues to grow strongly, underpinned by robust domestic demand, benign inflation, and prudent macroeconomic policies. The domestic financial system remains robust and resilient, bolstered by strong balance sheets, easy financial conditions, and low financial market volatility. The health of the scheduled commercial banks remains sound with strong capital and liquidity buffers, improved asset quality, and robust profitability. The insurance sector continues to display balance sheet resilience, and the consolidated solvency ratio remained above the minimum threshold limit. The RBI report follows PM Modi's social media post highlighting landmark reforms driving India's growth journey. Prime Minister underscored the transformative reforms undertaken in 2025 that have set India firmly on the path of accelerated growth and development. PM said that a series of path-breaking reforms across multiple sectors have added momentum to India's growth story and strengthened efforts to build a developed nation. PM underscored the reforms spanning labor laws, trade agreements, logistics, energy and markets, noting that India's growth is anchored in credibility, stability, and long-term confidence. During the 50th meeting of Pragati, Prime Minister Narendra Modi gave the mantra, reform to simplify, perform to deliver, transform to impact. PM said that Pragati is essential to sustain reform momentum and ensure delivery. With a stable financial system and sustained reform momentum, India appears well positioned to navigate global challenges and maintain its growth trajectory. As reforms continue and financial stability remains intact, India's growth story is gaining renewed confidence on both policy and performance fronts. Bureau Report, DD India.
Well, tourists welcomed the new year in Kashmir as fresh snowfall blanketed the region's scenic landscapes. Snow-covered destinations like Gulmarg and Sonmarg drew visitors celebrating the start of 2026 amid winter charm.
Several tourists welcomed the new year amid Kashmir's serene, snow-covered landscapes as fresh snowfall added a magical touch to new beginnings. With a blanket of snow enveloping popular tourist hotspots like Gulmarg, visitors ushered in 2026 soaking in the beauty of the region.
यहाँ का नज़ारा देखकर बहुत अच्छा लगा और यहाँ के लोगों का जो प्यार मिला है बहुत ही लाजवाब है। जो लोग ये चीज़ें कहते हैं कि वहाँ जाने में डर लगता है वो बेझिझक यहाँ आइए, गुलमर्ग कश्मीर घूमने आइए। यहाँ के लोगों का प्यार और यहाँ की वादियाँ देखने के लिए सुनहरा मौका मिलता है।
Similar experiences were shared by visitors at another popular tourist town, Sonmarg.
मैं कल यहीं स्टे किया था और यहाँ जब फेस्टिवल जो मनाया गया न्यू ईयर का फर्स्ट टाइम इतना एंजॉय और फर्स्ट टाइम इतना सेफ मैं बता नहीं सकता। मैं कहता पूरे जितने भी अपने आसपास कंट्री है सब लोग यहाँ आए और एक बार आके देखे वाकई में यहाँ के लोग और यहाँ का कल्चर और यहाँ जितना प्रेम मिलता है हमें कहीं पर देखने को नहीं मिला।
Many locals whose livelihoods are dependent on tourism have urged more people to visit the region during the winter months when the place turns into a virtual wonderland.
टूरिज्म डिपार्टमेंट ने यहाँ फेस्टिवल मनाया था, हैप्पी न्यू ईयर का फेस्टिवल, और टूरिस्ट बहुत आए थे कि पूरा होटल सोल्ड आउट है। हम ऊपर वाले से यही दुआ करते हैं कि ऐसा ही माहौल यहाँ पे रह जाए कि ताकि ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा टूरिस्ट यहाँ आ जाए सोनमर्ग में, यहाँ की ब्यूटी और यहाँ की बर्फबारी का मज़ा लीजिए, ताकि यहाँ के जो पोनी वाले, यहाँ के स्लेज वाले, यहाँ के स्नो बाइक वाले या यहाँ के होटलियर वो ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा काम कर पाए।
आज हमने यहाँ जो
जो इवेंट बनाया इधर न्यू ईयर का, तो इसमें आप देखिए कितने लोग आए इसमें स्पेंड करने के लिए। बहुत अच्छी बात है, हम वेलकम करते हैं टूरिज्म को कि जब से पहलगाम में इंसिडेंट हुआ हम उसके खिलाफ ही है, क्योंकि ऐसे जिसने भी किया गलत किया। तो अब हम ये चाहते हैं कि अब टूरिज्म बढ़े, क्योंकि ये हमारा रोजी रोटी का मसला है। यहाँ घोड़ा, कोई बूट वाला है, कोई चाय वाला है, सब इसी पे डिपेंड है, सब यही काम करते हैं। इसके लिए हम टूरिज्म को वेलकम करते हैं, आइए इधर, हम आपके प्रोटेक्शन के लिए, हम आपकी सेवा के लिए हाजिर है।
To encourage tourism in Kashmir, which had reportedly seen a decline following the Pahalgam terror attack in April 2025, the local administration, along with tourism stakeholders, has been organizing various events across the valley to restore tourist confidence.
Well, dense fog conditions are set to affect large parts of northern and eastern India, prompting weather alerts across key regions. The Indian Meteorological Department has placed much of the North Belt under an orange alert for very dense fog, including parts of the National Capital Region and the Western Plains, where visibility is expected to drop sharply during the early morning hours. A yellow alert has been issued across the Himalayan region, northeastern parts of the country and southern India, including Tamil Nadu. The weather agency said foggy conditions are likely to persist, potentially affecting transport and daily movement, especially during the morning hours. And for more on the weather situation, we have our correspondent Tapas Bhattacharya joining us. Well, Tapas, dense fog alerts issued across North India. Tell us, what do you have the latest from the Met Department? Tapas, we feel there's an audio issue from your end. Tapas, there seems to be an audio issue from your end. We'll try and get back to you. Meanwhile, let's move on and take a look. Tapas, can you hear us now?
Am I audible to you?
Yes,
audible?
yes.
Right. So places, for instance, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand have been given yellow alert. Places like, for example, Delhi, Punjab, Haryana, parts of Uttar Pradesh, East have been given orange alerts. And the reason is very simple. The visibility at around 5 o'clock in the morning, 5:30 in the morning, dipped to almost zero in many places. Gwalior, Prayagraj, Bhopal, many places we saw the visibility drop to almost zero, and that's one reason. And where the things were little improved, even there the visibility was nearly 50 meters or 150 meters in that area. So in many ways, the whole of North India, northwest part of the country is under a severe cold wave conditions. And there's another part that is quite important is the thick cover of fog that has gripped the whole area. So that's being a double whammy for people in northwest part of the country.
All right, Tapas, thank you so much for all that information. And now let's take a look at other stories making news today. Over 3 crore registrations have been received so far for participation in the 9th edition of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's annual Pariksha Pe Charcha. An online competition with multiple choice questions is being organized on the MyGov portal from December 1st to January 11th for the selection of participants. Students from classes 6 to 12th, teachers and parents are eligible to participate in the competition. In 2025, the Pariksha Pe Charcha set a Guinness World Record, drawing participation of students from more than 245 countries, teachers from 153 countries and parents from 149 countries. In West Bengal, a one-horned rhino calf born on 1st of January 2026, New Year's Day, was sighted by the patrolling team during routine monitoring in Jaldapara National Park. As per the protocol, Every newborn rhino baby is recorded, counted and closely monitored as part of park's conservative program. This ensures the timely protection and continuous observation of both the calf and the mother rhino. The 14th Ahmedabad International Flower Show 2026 has achieved a significant milestone on the global stage this year. Held under the theme Bharat Ek Gatha, the flower show has set 2 new Guinness World Records. The first record is for the world's largest flower mandala, while the second is for the world's largest flower portrait of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. The flower show, opened on Thursday, will run till January 22nd. And still to come on DD India Newshour. Australian batter Usman Khawaja has announced his retirement from international cricket. Swimmers across Europe bring in 2026 with New Year's Day tips.
Monsoons to winters, seasons have now become unpredictable. So today let's meet people who, despite the challenges of change, are working towards a better future.
I started working in waste management and focused on reducing polythene use to protect the environment.
Within 6 months, all the other plants turned into manure, but this one plant was still blooming. So that was a big motivation for me to start Only Adenium.
If we can continue this initiative, we hope by 2050 to see a green belt along the entire coastline.
When you're surrounded by asphalt, concrete, glass, and these run-of-the-mill buildings that are becoming more and more alike, then of course people will want to create a more natural, more livable niche here and there.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News. I'm Lipakshi Khurana, and on to some sports news now. Australia's long-time opening batter Usman Khawaja on Friday called time on his international career by announcing his retirement. Usman Khawaja said he's still battling racial stereotypes. The left-handed batter confirmed that the upcoming 5th and final Ashes test against England would be his final game in international cricket. The 39-year-old made his test debut at the same ground in the final match of the 2010 to 2011 Ashes series and has since scored 6,206 runs at an average of 43.39 in 87 matches, including 16 centuries. The batter's future in Test cricket has been one of the hottest topics on this summer's Ashes series as he turned 39 last month. With Australia 3-1 up in the series headed into the final test, Khawaja confirmed he would be calling time after the final SCG test. Well, Australia also announced a 15-member squad for the 5th and final Ashes test against England starting on January 4th in Sydney. In the absence of regular captain Pat Cummins, veteran batter Steve Smith will continue to lead the Australian side. Pat Cummins missed the first 2 Ashes tests against England and after failing to recover on time due to a lower back injury. Meanwhile, amid test retirement speculations, Usman Khawaja has retained his place in the squad for the 5th Ashes test. Australia will be looking to end the series on a high after suffering a rare home defeat to England for the first time in almost 15 years. They lead the 5-match series 3-1 and have already retained the Ashes. And wrestler Ritika Ahuja has been dropped from the Sport Ministry's Target Olympic Podium scheme after failing a dope test as the updated list of supported athletes was released. Ahuja, an Asian Championship medalist who competed in Paris, has been part of the top score group announced in February last year. At the same time, compound archers Parneet Kaur and Abhishek Verma were promoted to the core group, while decathlete Tejaswin Shankar was included in the developmental list based on recent performances. The revised TOPS directory reflects athlete performances over the past year following the end of the 2024 Paris Olympic cycle. The latest update has slightly increased the number of core group athletes to 118, including 57 able-bodied and 61 para-athletes. And in English Premier League, Manchester City were held to a goalless draw by Sunderland at the Stadium of Light on Friday. City missed the chance to close the gap on league leaders Arsenal. They now trail Arsenal by 4 points. City began on the front foot and had an early goal ruled out. Bernardo Silva finished from close range, but he was caught offside. Erling Haaland later had the best chance of the first half. His effort from inside the box was saved by the Sunderland goalkeeper. In the second half, Manchester City increased the pressure with Jeremy Doku denied and Josko Gvardiol hitting the post, and the match ended goalless. With this, Sunderland earned a deserved point and kept their unbeaten home record. And English football clubs Liverpool and Leeds played out a goalless draw at Anfield to begin the year, marking the first scoreless match of Arne Slot's time in charge. The key moment came in the first half when Hugo Ekitike missed an open goal. Despite enjoying most of the possession, Liverpool struggled to create clear chances and rarely doubled Leeds goalkeeper Lucas Perry. The result stretched Liverpool's unbeaten run to 8 matches and moved them 3 points clear of 5th placed Chelsea. The draw also extended Leeds' unbeaten run to 6 games and kept them 7 points clear of the relegation zone, having not lost since November. And Chelsea have parted ways with manager Enzo Maresca. The Premier League club announced on Thursday after the London side won just one of their last 7 league games. The Italian, who joined Chelsea in 2024 after steering Leicester City in Premier League promotion, guided the London side to Champions League qualification, the Conference League trophy and the Club World Cup title in his first session. But a poor run of form in December and an uncharacteristic outburst from the Italian prompted the club hierarchy to take action and part ways with the 45-year-old manager. And Brazilian football legend Roberto Carlos has shared a health update and clarified that he recently underwent a preventative medical procedure. In a post on social media, the former Real Madrid and Brazil left-back said that he underwent a planned medical procedure and had not had a heart attack. The 2002 FIFA World Cup winner assured fans that his recovery is progressing smoothly and that he is looking forward to resuming his routine soon. Carlos played 125 times for Brazil and was part of the World Cup winning team in 2002. And despite temperatures dipping for a chilly New Year's Day, people across Europe participated in New Year's Day dips to welcome 2026. The event, held on Thursday, marked the start of the new year with a plunge into ice-cold water despite spine-chilling cold. That's all for this edition of DD India News Hour, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Lipakshi Khurana from Al Paser in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News App.